Experience the transformative journey of faith with Path of Faith as we navigate the complexities of life and discover the profound truths that unite us all. A good portion of our disappointments stem from the understanding that people should act towards us exactly as we act towards them. We need to lose that pretension. People are governed by other commands, different from ours. The secret is to continue offering the best of ourselves to others, even if it's not always reciprocal. I know this is a commonplace. You've probably thought about it a lot. But every now and then, it's good to shed light on what is often obscure to us, despite knowing it's there. Because sometimes knowing isn't enough. Sometimes we need to continually renew this within ourselves. Why do we keep getting frustrated with people? Because they didn't meet our expectations. Because deep down, even though we know others are not obligated to be as we want them to be, we nurture this illusion. We carry this pretension. People are who they are. Sometimes they'll align perfectly with us. Sometimes they'll err, just as we also succeed and fail with others. What we can do is minimize these expectations within ourselves. Are you getting to know someone? Do everything you can to not idealize that person. Make every effort. Make the effort not to place on them expectations that have much more to do with you than with them. Have the simplicity and honesty to look at yourself, to look at others through the lens of reality. People are good. People are bad. People succeed. People fail. Just like you and I are also good, bad, successful, and flawed. We need simplicity in the way we look at things, to minimize as much as possible the expectations we have so that our encounters are fruitful, more real. Because others definitely aren't obligated to be as we would like. I struggle a lot with rejection. I have an immense need to please people, even those who despise me. What's the reason for that? It's funny because sometimes when we identify this within ourselves, you feel like you're trying too hard to please, when in reality, it's an insecurity that sometimes pushes the other further away. It's like when you're trying to be too nice, when you want to be too present in someone's life. It's sometimes the exaggeration of being. The best way to control this is first to realize that there's a measure to how much you should be in someone else's life. So you first seek the satisfaction of being who you are. Pleasing others is a consequence. And you being in someone else's life within a measure that is neither too little nor too much. I don't know if you're familiar with that text by Mario Quintana, the Quindim at the Gate. They say he loved Quindim, and he had a lady who was passionate about his work, but she never wanted to meet him. She was his neighbor, but she preserved Mario Quintana's privacy a lot. She saw him from afar, knew he was the great poet she read. So what did she do? She found out about his taste for Quindim, and she started leaving Quindims at the gate. And on the first one, she left. She wrote, "I leave Quindims, but not to burden you with my presence. I don't want to burden you with my presence." And I find that interesting when someone discovers there's a personal satisfaction in liking someone, but at the same time, they don't want to burden them with their presence. They don't want to be excessive in someone else's life. And sometimes, out of insecurity, I still don't have the confidence in who I am. I go to the meeting, I go to the encounter caring too much, and all of this ends up being a reason to push away instead of bringing closer. It's the gift of lightness. You notice how affectionate a person is because they are light, they don't demand things, they understand you just the way you are. It's so cool that there are people who have this thing of throwing happiness onto you, in a sense. If you don't do what they imagine you should do, it seems like the problem is yours. And it's not. I mean, each one, it's not my fault, right? You want to attribute a failure, a success to another person, right? Exactly. And it's not fair, right? It's not fair. And especially when you realize you projected too much of what you expected from the other person. That's also extremely disastrous. I really like something that, it's very Aristotelian, but it's the concept of the uselessness of friendship. Friendship is beautiful because it's useless. Not in the ugly sense of the word useless, but in the sense that they are complete people with all their imperfections, and they choose to be part of each other's lives. One helps the other, not out of utility. When I'm friends with someone out of utility, I'm not really friends with them. I'm their friend because you can help me with this and that. I'm your friend because you have a college degree and I want to get a job. I'm your friend because you own a company and can do something for me. I'm your friend because you have a boat and I like sailing. So I'm not your friend. I'm your friend because I'm your friend. The things you provide me with, right? Many times, right? The person is interested in what the other person provides. Sometimes, because you have a certain recognition, people want to be on your side, right? And then it's sad because in moments, sometimes but you end up alone, isolated. Today I saw something that I'm going to say here. I have deep admiration for Father Julio Lancelotti. You do too, right? And Father Julio. So I learned to admire more and more for seeing him take care of homeless people. And so then I see that the homeless people know him by name, ask for his blessing. So it's a sign that he stays there, that he stays with them, that he takes care. It's not marketing, right? So Father Julio said, look, Salida, I learned to love Father Fabio because in the most difficult moments of my life, when people judged me in a hasty way, when people didn't understand me, I watched his show. And I looked and I felt that God spoke to my heart through him, through his priestly life, and I became more priestly, more like a priest, right? That's so beautiful, right? And the affectionate way that the Lord treated, I'll throw confetti at you. But one of the things I find most beautiful about your way of speaking about the Word of God is when you talk about that sinful woman who knew she was going to die, who was condemned, and that Jesus, in that magnificent way, looked deep into her eyes, didn't challenge the law, didn't say anything, just gave a detail of love. Let him who is without sin cast the first stone. That's beautiful. Father Flavio, my name is Emanuele. I'm 17 years old. It's been 2 years since my parents split up. And since then, I've noticed that I've become a negative person. I always catch myself thinking that I've never found someone who will truly love me. And with that comes low self-esteem. I think people will never find me attractive. And I suffer from it, Father. What can I do? Oh, my daughter, the way we perceive ourselves is absolutely important for us to receive the perception that others have of us. It would be very cruel of me to expect that others offer me what is my duty to offer. So sometimes, Emanuele, we have difficulty moving forward in life because we are waiting for others to bring us, to prepare us, what we should be preparing ourselves. So what is the first reality to be healed? To take a distance from your parents' failed marriage and try to understand that this is not a rule for you. Because sometimes when I see the failure of my parents' marriage, I tend to think that mine will also be a failed experience. Because it's the closest example we have of ourselves. So we need to air out this dirty laundry. We need to reorient this view. Yes. Okay. I will always have an easier time interpreting the world based on what is being offered to me. So I interpret marriage based on the closest marriage I have. If my parents' marriage didn't work out, I tend to think that all marriages will be like theirs. And no. Allow that impression to go away. Look at other models that have worked out. Without the romantic view, please. Marriage can only work out to the extent that we fight for it daily. And they lived happily ever after. That doesn't exist, no. And after you manage to have a vision that corresponds to reality, you work with the possibility that you can also experience that in your life. Loving is possible. Being loved is also possible. But this love only becomes a reality in our lives to the extent that we open ourselves to it, that you offer yourself daily an opportunity to love and be loved. What is self-esteem? It's the first love we experience, isn't it? The first love I experience is not for others, it's for myself. This also belongs to maturity. When you are able to let go of that excess love for yourself, which is typical of a child, because a child cannot share They don't have emotional, effective, cognitive maturity to give themselves to someone. So they are immature, and it's their right to be immature because they are in that phase. But as they grow, they realize that they can offer themselves to others, that they don't just need to receive. So self-esteem is the balance between what you offer yourself and what you offer to others. There is no self-centered love. Self-esteem is never a solitary love. The love I have for myself is always shared with others, but I have to love myself because otherwise I keep giving without offering myself. And then naturally, I create a downfall for myself. That's why maturity leads me to understand that in the exercise of self-love, I learn to love others. And also in the exercise of loving others, I end up returning to the love I need to have for myself. So, Emanuele, this healing is not just something you need. Don't think it's just you who suffers from this discouragement. No, many of us suffer from this discouragement, or many of us experience the failure of not being sufficiently loved by ourselves. Yes, I need to love myself sufficiently. To love myself means to reconcile with my limits, to know all my, or as much as I can, of my weaknesses. Because sometimes I'm not able to know everything, but the most I can know about these weaknesses, so I can use them to my advantage. Yes, because even my weakness, if it's under my control, it favors me. There are restrictions that make things possible. I am made possible when I live restrictions sincerely, honestly, justly. The experience of loving yourself is your first homework assignment. And then, naturally, you start getting rid of this pessimism, which can indeed be a consequence of your parents' unhappiness. We absorb so much from others, right? I absorb all the time from the people who pass by me. I repeat, what is alkaline and what is acidic is offered to me all the time. Now, the problem is when I offer myself the acidic feeling, when I offer myself the pessimism that prevents me from growing. So every day, there's no rest for this. It's daily, without a romantic view, please. God doesn't come to do it for us. Others won't do it for us. It's me, it's you, it's us who have to do it every day. This exercise of choosing the alkaline, the feeling that purifies us, that keeps us healthy, and that gives us conditions to move forward, to overcome obstacles, because that's how life is worth it. It's difficult for all of us. I'm going through a difficult phase, and I'm learning from it. I want to learn from it, because otherwise, this phase will only hurt me, and it's not fair. It's not fair that just one phase hurts me. We're all in the same boat, you know? Don't feel alone in this story. I'm sure many of those watching us now are going through the same conflict as you. Yes, people who need to love themselves more so they have the conditions to offer to others. Cultivation, you know? Loving is that. It's offering yourself better cultivation. It's allowing yourself to experience beauty through a book, through a good movie, through a good conversation. Because sometimes we think, oh, I need to love myself already. I think I need to go to the salon to dye my hair, buy clothes. No, that's not it. It can also be no problem. But the exercise of self-love, it goes mainly through what we offer ourselves intellectually. And when I talk intellectually, also think about the emotional dimension, because we don't think intellect disconnected from emotions. When I think about my self-love, I think about the good book I'm reading, the good influences I'm intending, allowing the painting I'm contemplating, the good music I'm listening to. All of this is self-love. Or the rest I plan, or the meeting I schedule to be with the people I love who make me feel good, that's self-love. And there you give yourself. There you live another dimension. That's why I say there is no self-love, self-contained. No, it naturally puts me at the disposal of others. It's cyclical. I give myself, I offer myself, and naturally offer to others. From others I receive, I return to myself, and so we go. Recycling loves, recycling experiences that mature us. That's it, my friends. Maturity is an everyday, every hour process. And may God bless us in this project. Because, after all, what Jesus did all the time, wherever he went, was to mature the hearts that were before him. May it be the same with us. God gives us the nuts, but doesn't crack them. Look how interesting that is. God gives us the nuts, but doesn't crack them. And then, based on that, an author, Paulo Roberto Gefke, wrote the following text. There are many people waiting for the cake to be ready. People who expect more than a miracle. They want angels to become accountants and solve their personal accounting that never balances. They spend more than they earn and live in debt. They want angels to become doctors and cure that cirrhosis from years of alcohol, the lung emphysema from many years of smoking, the chronic diseases from years of poor nutrition, the nervous diseases from lack of self-love. The miracle is there every day, available to those who want to change. Available to those who want to change. It's the sun that provides the work, the rain that promotes the plow, the sea that brings the shoal, the river that fills with fish, the technology that creates jobs, life itself that renews and clearly and concisely says, God gives everything you need. It's a time for motivation, for believing more in yourself, using the energy of the soul, of the heart. Time to take the nuts and crack them with the fruits, make cakes, sweets, and ice creams. Then you invite me to come over and eat the cake with coffee with milk. So many possibilities for the miracle to establish itself, for you to see and feel God. Learn then from this lesson. God is not found in lamentation, nor in complaint. God is found in work, in the sweat of the face, of those who devote themselves to good, who don't have time to speak ill of anyone. People who truly discover that they themselves are a true miracle. Beautiful, isn't it? I'm really in favor of that. Enough of this story of thinking that God will do everything for us. God gives us grace all the time. Grace needs to find the task. God gave us for free. God endowed us with many blessings. Now we need to react to all of this. Besides, my people, it's very sad when you realize that the main problem of a person is laziness. Laziness in every sense of life. There are people who are lazy to improve. There are people who are lazy to make an effort to become better human beings. There are people who are practically lazy to clean dust, lazy to work. They wake up already discouraged. They don't want much effort. They want everything to fall from the sky. The world can only be transformed by courageous people, by people who face themselves every day. The biggest challenge you have in life is to tame yourself. Many times you waste a lot of time trying to tame others, trying to take care of others' lives, but the main purpose you have with life is you. The main place to be tamed is you. The main place to be transformed is you. And where I'm talking to you without listening to this, right? So I also immediately listen that the main place to be transformed is me. That I am the first to take the step and change. That laziness doesn't lead anyone anywhere. Roll up your sleeves, go study, go work, go live with dignity. I'm very afraid when people settle into charity. I'm very afraid when people settle into the charity they receive and stop making the effort for it to have conditions, to overcome that moment, to no longer need that charity, so that that charity can be given to someone else who is more in need. The charity we receive, I too. How many times have I been helped? In many moments of our lives, we need help in all aspects. But that moment of being helped is supposed to be transitory. We don't have to spend our whole lives depending on it. That's why we can't stand clingy people. Emotionally needy, right? What is affection? Emotional neediness? It's that person who wants other people's charity all the time, from an affective point of view. Mind you, the love of others is important in our lives, but it's you who have to carry your burdens all the time. Another friend to help us carry life, to carry existence, but you have to deal with your problems, your difficulties. Then, every now and then, you share when it's too heavy, but you don't have the right to establish yourself in laziness, in accommodation, and expect the other to do it for you. And religion that teaches that God does everything is wrong. Honest religion is the one that teaches us that God's grace also needs to find the sweat of our face. Once someone asked Rui Barbosa, the great writer, the great thinker, "What is the secret of your genius, Rui?" Right, I was waiting, thinking, I received good genetics, my father was very intelligent, I'm very capable. Why not? He said, "The secret of my ability is that the sun never surprises me in bed. It means he used to get up early to take care of life." Of course, life has changed. Getting up early doesn't mean much anymore. There are people who work until 3 in the morning so they can't get up early, right? Mauricio, that's your case. I worked almost all night tonight. But getting up early is a metaphor. That is, don't waste time. I'm running after everything I can. Still this week, Leo introduced me to someone. Leo is a person who is responsible for my life, right? All our Natal activities. Leo introduced me to someone, and I was very moved by the story I heard from that person. And then, one of the details, of the many rich details of that person's story, is that the great financial difficulty they go through doesn't prevent that family from dreaming. A woman who completed high school with a lot of effort, with a lot of struggle, a lover of reading. And I found it interesting, beautiful, that this person, she doesn't have the money to buy books. You know what she does? She goes to the bookstore, pretends to look at the books, takes the book there, reads some 5, 6 pages, 10, leaves it there. Then she comes back, takes the same book, reads another 5, 10, because she doesn't have the money to buy the book. But isn't that fantastic, folks? And that moved me so much that I'm going to send her a box of books. It moved me so much because sometimes a person has the book at home, has the money, can buy it, and doesn't have the habit of reading. That creature deprived of so much, materially speaking, but she is not deprived of the essential, which is the will. Will is the greatest wealth a person can have. Because without will, you can give a person a college education, you can give them a house, you can give them a job, but if they don't have the will to live all of that, it will be worthless. It will be worthless to have all that. Now, the person has the restriction, but within her heart, she has this pact with life. She doesn't get discouraged. She makes her daily effort. That's why I don't pity those who make an effort. What I pity is the lazy ones. With those who make an effort, I'm sympathetic, but not with the lazy ones. Help. But the other person also needs to help themselves. They are the first part to make it work. We can't do that. We can't stop people from making this effort because sometimes we want to help, but we end up carrying the other person on our backs, assuming their responsibilities. We can't. And this happens in all dimensions of life, including in the affective spiritual dimension. Be very careful because sometimes we create a state of spiritual laziness in others. They just pass by in the middle of the room. Oh, pray for me because I need it. Isn't there a type like that who loves it when you put your hand on their head, who prays for them, but they themselves don't make an effort to improve? Oh, you guys need to pray for me, folks, because I'm not well. In these prayer groups, there are many people like that who go there every day and faint and feel sick. Why? They want attention. Or then that affective vampire who always has that look like that. The affective vampire is sad. It sucks all our blood. It grabs onto our jugular. And sometimes it takes time to realize that it was an effective spiritual vampire. It's always begging for our affection, wanting our attention. There is a range of possibilities to do that. Be careful. And sometimes we feed these people. We prevent them from growing. That's why loving is being tough with that person at the right time. I don't hesitate when I need to do that. What about people who want to cling to me and be sticky with me? Why? Because they think I have the solution to their problems. That's why you have to be very careful with those who think you are too necessary. Be careful. If the person thinks you are too necessary for them, be careful. You have to have balance. Even in friendship, isn't it? Even in marriage. Okay, if you're okay, I'm okay. Oh, I don't know. Well, if you want to be okay. Then there's that thing. It seems like conjugal love is very beautiful. Conjugal love needs to be lived all the time in that sharing. But personal lives need to continue the same way. You need to continue to have your own will. You need to continue to be in charge of yourself so you can give yourself more quality to the other. Love isn't this clingy thing that often suffocates. It can't be. That's why sometimes a harsh word is the best expression of love for that person. Grow up, mature, open your eyes, stop it. Stop being a vampire. Go live your life. No, I don't have the solution to your problems. Now, when the other person doesn't want to grow, they're going to play this game their whole life. They stop doing it with you and start doing it with someone else. And they keep sticking to you. It's like a gecko. It sticks where it can. This can't happen. It shouldn't be like this. Life needs to go through our disposition, through our courage and consciousness all the time. I need to be aware of what my limitations are, what my possibilities are, and act responsibly with all of that. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey at Path of Faith. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, share it with your loved ones, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content like this.